Hi there, everybody. Welcome to Trans and the M-Friendly Fridays. Today I have with me Harper Snow. We're going to be talking about a lot of really awesome things. How are you doing today, Harper?
I am pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. You know, it's another Friday. I have off on, or yes, I have off on Fridays. I'm chilling. I'm vibing. I'm chilling like a villain. I'm here.
Great.
Good. Well, good. So I know I've met you on Twitter a few times. I think my introduction to you was actually through like a group of other trans femme people, right?
Yeah, there's so many of them.
That's so many of them. I like it.
Um, probably, yeah, probably through Poe.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
honestly.
Poe's a good guy. He's actually done a lot for me as far as helping me connect to other trans people and get
Yeah,
guests for my
that's
show and stuff like that. So he's been really great.
yeah, that seems like he is like does that. That is his thing. Like,
Yeah, yeah, he's very good. He's very skilled at doing something like that. So thank you, Poe, for bringing us all together, and thank you, Harper, for being here today. It really truly means a lot to me. So if you want to, let's go ahead and just get started a little bit. I'd like to just ask you, really, how's your trans experience been? How's transition been for you?
um, generally pretty smooth.
Nice.
It was pretty rough when I came out, but
Hmm.
other than that, most people in my life have been pretty accepting. Um, My dad is not, but he lives in Vermont, so I don't have to see him. Um,
Fair.
yeah, I realized I was trans when I was pretty young, around 13.
Hmm.
Um, and about a year or two later, I told my mom, and her response was mixed. Her first thing was to try to get me into therapy,
Hmm.
in a positive way to like try to figure out what
Sure.
I'm doing. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
um, and to not talk about it at all for the next couple of years. Um, at that point, I was still like kind of a right-leaning centrist.
Ah.
So I didn't believe in minors taking hormone blockers. So I
Ah.
was like, yeah.
Hmm.
um,
Right. Sure.
and so I was like, well, I'm just gonna wait until I'm 18 to do anything. Um, and so that is how that went. Um, but eventually, as you know, it got closer and closer to me wanting to come out publicly and
Mhm.
make my transition. I talked to my mom more and more about it, and since then, she has been like one of my biggest supporters in my life.
Very
Um,
nice.
yeah. So for hormones, I ended up going like the pretty traditional route, like years of therapy, get a doctor's recommendation for an endocrinologist.
Hmm.
And it ended up being for basically nothing because I don't even use that. I use an
Oh,
informed consent clinic now because
sure.
it's more consistent.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Um, so informed consent, good.
Informed consent, very good. Um,
Yeah.
I don't know if you've heard about it, but I use a service called Plume. Um,
That's what I use.
oh, nice. That's
Yeah.
awesome. We might even have the same doctor. That's interesting. But no, it's really cool. I like Plume because so far, my experience with them has been basically anytime I want to change anything about my regimen, they're like, okay, let's change it. Let's go, bitch. Let's go. What are you waiting for? So for me, it's been like really phenomenal because I hear stories about trans people going through like WPATH and getting like recommendations from endocrinologists and stuff like that. And um, for me, it was just like a discovery in like February of last year that I was like, okay, I want to start hormones. And then like 2 weeks later, I was starting hormones. And like I wish it was that way for everybody. You know, like I wish it was that easy for everyone.
Yeah. yeah, I was doing like W path, and
Mm-hmm.
I didn't end up looking into it, or I forgot what I have looked into it, but
Mm-hmm.
it's not great.
Yeah. Yeah. I've had a lot of mixed reviews about WPath.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say mostly negative, but I want to be positive, so I'm gonna say mixed. But yeah, no, it's I'm glad that you're in a place now where you can get the medication that you need and the help that you need and the resources that you need without a whole lot of pushback. That's
yeah,
great. I love the services like Plume and there's a couple other ones I think. Um,
yeah. I got my girlfriend actually recommended it to me. They had this like this kind of thing where they went through how to like the steps to get your legal name changed.
mhm.
I forgot most of what I actually went there for, but after it, I was like, maybe this is actually a better thing for me in
Yeah,
general. Yeah,
that's interesting. Um, I might actually reach out to them about name change stuff because
yeah.
I didn't know that was a
They
thing that
were
they could do.
yeah they were pretty good with it. Although it seemed like it was more like a panel, and that there was like a couple of people in it, and they had like a Zoom call, and he joined it, and they would like talked about it for a while.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, cool. Did you face any pressures from your like peers or friends or other family members? Or I know you said your mom was like one of your strongest allies, but have you had any like opposition there as far as that goes?
Um, my uncle on my mom's side is not great, but I also never talk to him at all, so it's fine. I'm closer with a lot of the other family on my mom's side, and they've
Hmm.
been mostly fine. Um, the one thing that I have run into an issue with is my cousin. He lives pretty close to me,
Hmm.
and he has kids, very young kids. And we were a couple years ago, or about a year ago, we were going to have dinner at their place.
Hmm.
And we get a text from them, or my mom gets a text from them saying, "If you come, please have Harper come as dead name, uh, because our kids wouldn't understand, and we don't know how to explain it to them." And it was really disheartening.
Yeah.
Um, Other than that, my dad has been like I said before that he lives in Vermont, so I don't have to see him, but he also has a lot of financial power over me.
Hmm.
And he hasn't been using it as much as he could, but like a lot of my insurance is tied to him, and it's not great
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
he used that to say like, okay, you can't use your insurance for hormones
Right.
or anything like
Yeah.
to relate to trans stuff. Yeah,
Ah, that's
so
how do
I've been
you
making
how
it.
do you even say that? Like how do you say that? How do you say,
I just
"Oh, you can't use your health insurance that I give you for X reason." You can't do that.
Yeah,
Like,
it's he ended up going to like court with my mom several times about
mhm.
like really stupid shit. Um, and it so that's but it is what it is, I suppose.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I don't mean to dredge up anything
Oh no, it's fine. I'm an open book for this stuff. Yeah.
sure. Well, another thing is that I've only ever had to really do this once, but if we ever talk about something that ends up being a little bit too sensitive or something, I'm happy to cut that out.
Oh,
Just let
totally.
me know after the fact, and that's totally fine. Any
So
editing
far
and
we've
stuff.
been
Cool.
so far we've been completely fine. Yeah.
Awesome. Great. Well, good. Yeah. No, I'm very glad to hear that. I'm, really sorry about what's going on with. You said it was your uncle that
My cousin,
your cousin.
which is pretty close, but
Yeah.
it's been a while, so it isn't that bad. Um, and he's another person I don't. All of the people in my family and friends that I see consistently
Hmm.
are great. And that is really all I can ask for.
Yeah. That's awesome. No, I'm
Like
glad.
could ask for more, but that's all I am asking for.
Well, and it's also really great that that we have these larger communities of people where we can talk to each other and get familiar with each other and share our experiences and stuff like that. It's been fantastic for me. I feel really privileged as far as like the degree of my transition has gone, because it's been like with not only with Plume and with my partner being super accepting because she's had multiple trans partners in her life, and with people like Lucy and Tori and people like Poe adding me to their communities and just accepting me for who I am. Like, it is completely like made for a wonderful trans experience.
I completely agree. I feel similarly.
Yeah.
And uh, I see a lot of like people who don't like. Honestly, the thing that made me come out to my mom was I was on like I think uh, like Susan's Place or something, because and when I was like 14, and somebody was talking about like how they were feeling like they like just couldn't live anymore,
Mm-hmm.
not telling anybody, and I was like, damn, I don't want to be that. um, and so like I so that's what like got me to finally like open up about it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, uh, I was gonna go somewhere with that, but then I completely forgot. Lost my train of thought. So
Oh,
never
that's
mind.
okay. If you catch it and you want to come back to it, just let me know. We'll do
Will
that.
do.
Do you want to talk about how your egg cracked? What was that like?
Um, I don't remember how my egg cracked. Actually, it's been a while.
That's okay.
Um, I do know that I learned what being trans even was through the Homestuck fandom. Um, yeah, I was in like a I was in a roleplay server, and people were talking about how their characters were gender fluid, and I was like, damn,
Mhm.
a lot of these people have very similar superpowers. um,
Right?
yeah, and then they were like, wait, do you guys like? They were like, wait, do you know that like about people being trans? And I was like, yeah, I do. Wait, no,
Yeah.
I don't actually.
No, I do. I do.
um,
Trust me.
yeah, and so yeah, other like Um, but I don't remember my actual thought process for
Hmm.
being like, oh, I am this. So I just
Yeah.
remember, um, I just remember being it and not being it.
Yeah. You know what's really funny is that for I think like personally I knew really like early on, but I didn't want to admit it to myself.
Yeah.
Like,
Like, yeah.
go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah. I don't think I ever really knew.
Hmm.
I think, but like, um, you have a lot of like the stories with a bunch of people who talk about like, oh, the signs when we were younger.
Yeah.
Um, My favorite one of those for me, and one of the only ones that I know of, is in art class in pre-K. They had us drawing like futuristic machines, and I drew a gender swapper. And my art teacher was like, "That's nice," and then called my mom.
What? Oh my god. Oh
um,
god. Hey, by the way, did you know your kid might be trans? Because I saw them do this art one time.
yeah.
Awkward. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Um, so, but that's all I can think of. Yeah.
Um, yeah, no, I think like I have a similar experience. Like, I had hints, I think, and like looking back, I probably would have known. Like, if the education were there, if the information were there,
Yeah.
I probably would have known. And
I feel like there's a lot of people who like it's one of the reasons where like a lot of like when conservatives say like, oh, there's so many trans people now, it's a they're like indoctrinating each other, and it's like, yes, because because like having people giving people the language and information that they need to figure
mhm,
out who they are is a good thing.
Yes.
Um, and like indoctrination, if you mean like letting people know that this is something they could be,
Hmm.
then yeah, like
Yeah. Absolutely. No, I think it's really helpful, and this is another thing I actually wanted to touch on that kind of slipped my mind that I've been brought back to.
Mhm,
Is that when it comes to some of your where you were talking about like your cis people that you were close to that didn't understand, that were like, oh, I don't know how to explain this to my kids.
mhm.
So we are, I'm sure you've heard Ashley and I are working on the TRCP, the Trans Resource Curation Project.
I
And
actually haven't heard of that.
really, okay, well,
Yeah, I have
definitely,
not.
yeah, check it out. It is, so what we are working on is, it's a project where we collect a number of resources for people who are either questioning that they might be trans or are trans and need help with the process, or are cis and have loved ones who are trans and want more information. So one of the things that we're working on is I'm working with another Harper, actually. I'm not sure if you're familiar, but I think she goes by Aphrodito on
Yeah, I know.
Twitter.
I've
Yeah.
DM'd her. I went. We there can only be one. We must have a
So you had the
uh,
Highlander
yeah,
conversation, right? Okay, good, good.
yeah.
I've had to have that with a lot of trans people because I don't know
Mhm.
if you realize this, but there's a lot of trans errands, okay?
I do
Like
know
one
that.
of the one of the big trans errands is femboy fishing, and I swear to God, I'm coming for that throne, Aaron. I'm coming for it. It's mine, okay? But anyway. Um yeah, no, I'm working with her because what she's working on right now is like a video series to kind of explain everything about trans people and what terminology means and what things are and the kind of thought processes that a lot of us go through to cis people in a way that they can kind of like understand and comprehend what's going on. Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
I'm
I'm so
absolutely
excited.
going to check that out when anything comes out of it. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, that sounds
Yeah.
awesome.
Absolutely. No, right now we've got her Discord is up. If you go on her Twitter account at turf posting, by the way, twitter.com/turf posting, she'll have it's on her pinned is a link to her Discord. Go ahead and join it. All the TRCP stuff that we've got going on so far is there. We're still in the very like base level of where things are right now. So there's not a whole lot of resources collected, but that's what we're working on is getting everything together and building everything. So ideally, we're going to have a really great website put together for people.
That's great.
Yeah, I'm excited. So that's a good segue to our next topic here. Do you have any projects that you're working on or anything that you're doing right now?
So I do have some projects I'm working on. Nothing
Mm-hmm.
is available yet, though. So I am working with a very good friend of mine, and we're going to start making. We have a YouTube channel that we have set up, but yet to do anything with. And we are going to hopefully start making some video essays, mostly media analysis, from a leftist trans perspective. We're both trans women. Um, and we are still very early on writing
Mm-hmm.
stuff. Um, but that is kind of where that's our biggest project right now. So nothing is set in stone yet, but that is what it's. Yeah, that's that's what I'm doing.
That's really cool. Actually, I'm gonna take a second here. Sorry to interrupt, but
Mhm,
I just retweeted. So I follow a couple of um, really big like trans accounts, and
mhm,
here it is. Okay, I'm gonna send it to you now. So they recently the place that I have on my Patreon. There's $100 subscription tier that included in that is a half of that whatever donations I get from that tier go to the National Center for Transgender Equality, and So I follow them on Twitter, and they post a lot about really cool transition or trans stuff. And so one of the links that they posted today was, are you looking for compelling trans stories on film played by transgender actors? And lists a couple of movies that you might be interested in doing like media analysis of. Some of them are foreign films, but it's certainly something that you might want to look into.
Yeah, the one up front that they kind of have as an example. I'm pretty sure I forget what the name of it was, but I have seen it and it was really good. I enjoyed it.
Nice. Very cool.
But mostly like because both of us our interests overlap in gaming, so we're
Hmm.
mostly going to be focusing on video games.
Okay, sure.
Um, like the script that I am writing, it's about a game called Catherine, Full
Hmm.
Body, um, and that game is very interesting because it is basically trying to say something very big about masculinity
Hmm.
and gender, but it's made by a bunch of cishet guys
Uh-huh.
that like don't really understand what to say or like
Sure.
have any of the language for it.
Yeah.
Um, so like that's the main thing that I want. Like I'm very like because they stumble and fall in so many hilarious and like terrible ways. Like but then also it has something at its core that's like genuinely like um I think a good message. And uh so that's the main thing that I'm writing about right now.
Nice. Yeah, that's very cool. I'm super excited. I'd be interested to hear your take on a game like Animal Crossing. Have you heard of that?
Yeah, I know of Animal Crossing. Not my kind of game, but
Yeah.
I definitely know about it. Yeah, another like one another idea that I've had right now is I want to take a look at something like Kirby, some
Hmm.
or like um and just like really dive hard into its like political stance and social like it's
Yeah.
like and just to because like when you break it down anything with any art with any sort of message is going to be inherently political in some way,
Yeah.
um and I want to like explain that by taking something like completely what's the word like harmless
Hmm.
and breaking down what it means, so
Yeah.
yeah.
I also think it would be an interesting comparison to compare transition to Kirby's copy ability almost.
That's that I didn't think about that, but that's interesting. Yeah.
You can become whatever kind of character whatever kind of powers you want. Yeah, you just seek it out and there you go, you know? I
Yeah.
like that. I like that a lot. Well, for
Um
like one of my big issues with Animal Crossing recently has like been from like the beginning of the game, it was like very strict. Like if you picked a boy or a girl character, you were that. You couldn't wear dresses as a boy, you couldn't wear, well, I think you could wear short shirts as a girl or whatever, but like you certainly couldn't wear dresses as a boy. And
mhm.
like as it moved on, now, yeah, you absolutely can. Whatever kind of clothes you want to wear, if you want to change your makeup or your eyes or whatever, you certainly can. But the one thing you can't change is your name. You can't
Oh,
change your name. You can't change when you start your game and you pick like a gender marker or whatever. Like you can't change the color that your name appears in anymore. Nope, none of that. No. So that's something that I'd like to see touched on. I want to see like I want to see Animal Crossing give you the ability to change your name because like
I will
you're so
definitely
close. You're so close.
that sounds like something interesting. I'll bring that up with my friend and we can talk about it.
Awesome.
Um and that actually made me think of the so that made me think of like a Zelda game. I think I forget what it's called, but it's like three player and like basically you unlock different outfits throughout the game, and the outfits that you can unlock for Link are like literally any outfit, like not gendered at all. So like there's like a bunch of like dresses and femme stuff that like and I thought that was really cool.
I like that. Yeah. I think the game you're thinking of is Triforce Heroes. Is that
Yeah,
right?
that's it.
Okay.
Hmm.
I know they also did Four Swords, and that
Yeah,
Four Swords was amazing. Did you ever
I
play it
haven't
on
played
Game
it
Boy?
yet.
Oh, so there were like two iterations. There was one on like Game Boy Advance that you could unlock if you had Wind
Yeah,
Waker, and then there was
wasn't it like Four Swords and then Four Swords Adventures or something?
I think so, yeah. And Four
Yeah.
Swords Adventures I think was on the 3DS, and it was only available for like a really really brief window. Um,
Wow.
yeah, no, well there was like a it was like when you first bought the 3DS or something, it came out, and then like after the first couple months, they were like, okay, we're just not gonna see you. You better download it if you want it.
Yeah. I think that there was like an ambassadors thing that it was called,
Yes.
where like a bunch of like old games they like ported them to 3DS for people who like bought it early.
That's right.
And
Yeah.
another game that was on there was Fire Emblem Sacred Stones. I'm a big Fire Emblem fan, so yeah.
Yeah, I still need to play all the way through Sacred Stones. I was part of the ambassador program, I'm sure, as you figured, but um, like, yeah, that was so ridiculous. I bought the 3DS for like $350, and like a couple weeks later, they were like, okay, it's $250 now. And I was like, are you kidding me? I paid like $100 extra for this. And then they teased the ambassador program for like months after that. And I was like, come on, just give me my shit. And it turns out like half the games I'm not interested in, like the WarioWare. I think there was a WarioWare game, or there was and there was like a F-Zero game or something. I was just like, and then they put Excite Bike on the NES on it, and I'm like, I played Excite Bike like back in the e-reader days. Come on. Like, I don't know. Whatever. But it's okay. Um, anything else you wanted to mention as far as like projects and stuff that you're working on?
That's pretty much the only project that I'm working on. I work on like tabletop role playing games.
Hmm.
Like or I my biggest passion in life is probably game design, and uh, I my goal at the end of it is video games. I
Hmm.
want to make a video game desperately. If I don't, by the time I die, I feel like I will have lived an unfulfilled life. Um, but in the meantime, I make tabletop role playing games for fun, um, and I I haven't really like made any of them like big projects that other people can see.
Hmm.
I just mostly play them with my friends. So that's like the only other thing I have going for me projects wise.
Interesting. Are you familiar with Shay? Not Mecha Shay, but the other Shay, Simply Shay?
Yeah, there are a couple Shays.
Yeah.
I know several. Yeah.
Yeah. There were like at one point I think there were like four Shays that I was familiar with. Yeah, I was a lot of them. And then like I think two of them changed their name or decided to go by something different, so it made things a little bit easier, but we still got the two Shays fighting for Highlander supremacy here, so um but no, I think you'd really get along with Simply Shay if you're not already friends. Just
I
because
don't think I've talked to them much. Yeah.
you should. You
So,
should. You're. It seems like you're both really into game design, especially tabletop games. I know that she personally has been wanting to get a group of people together to design a campaign and play some games with people. And I know she's
hell yeah.
also expressed interest in wanting to design a video game and like get the mechanics of that down and stuff like that. I know that she's been wanting to find people that are interested in similar things. So if you wanted to reach out to her, I'm sure she'd be, more than receptive.
Yeah. I just looked her up. Yeah, I know her. I haven't
Okay.
talked to her ever. She doesn't follow me.
Yeah.
But
Well, I'll see if I'll see if I can poke it in the right
yeah,
direction here. But I'd love for
yeah,
my friends to make friends with each other. That'd be awesome. I know I did an interview with Shay for Trans in the M. So if you want to go back and watch that, maybe a little bit later, that'd be really
yeah.
cool
I'll
too.
check that.
Cool. Well, no, she's really great. I like her a lot, and I think it'd be great for all of us to know each other and be just like a huge fucking community of trans people.
Hell yeah. Um, yeah. I've felt very good about that. Like for the last like month or
Mhm.
so, when I've like got into this group, and I just been I have felt very welcomed by it, and I'm glad to be here. Yeah.
Good. Yeah, we're glad to have you. I'm I'm sorry about any kind of like issues or anything that I may have caused with my
No, you're completely fine.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool, cool.
I
Yeah,
think
I
I was I, I think the one time like you accidentally removed me from something, I didn't even know that I was until I got added back in.
oh.
So like, yeah, like, yeah,
Yeah.
you're fine.
Sometimes the DMs move so fast that like group chats that are actually active just like fall off my recent. I have to scroll to see them. I'm like, this didn't used to happen to me. Like before I transitioned, like my inbox was just like completely empty. Like there was nobody in
Mhm.
there. And now that I'm trans and confident in who I am, like people want to talk to me. Go figure, right?
Yeah, yeah. That has been a big thing. Like, a big part of my experience is like actually, um, like yeah, being confident in who I am and is like I people like actually like pay attention to me now, and it's really it's strange, and I didn't know how to deal with it for a long time. Um, and I still don't really.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, so that's something that I had no expectations to have to get used to, and
Right? Yeah,
yeah,
same.
like yeah,
Yeah, like
it
I
feels a
figured
little
like sorry, go ahead.
it feels a little conceited talking about it honestly, because it's like
Just a little bit.
yeah.
I feel the same way
So
though, so don't.
I feel kind of bad, like
No. No, don't. No, like I think I've told this story a couple times, but like before I transitioned, I was part of like some other left leaning political Twitter side or whatever, and that experience was horrible. I hated it. And I ended up getting harassed by a bunch of people and having to block a whole bunch. So I don't know if you were around a couple years ago, but on left Twitter, I think it was in 2020, the summer of 2020, there was a little campaign going around called No Comrade Under 1K, and it was meant to like try to boost left-leaning people who were like more on the socialist side or communist side or whatever to get to follow each other. And so I participated in that, and I got like 1,300 or something followers, and got a lot of harassment. And so I went and soft blocked a whole bunch of people. I got myself down to like 400, and then I stayed there until I transitioned. And now I'm like 2,400 almost. Like I'm at close to 2,200. Like this is insane. Like I never expected this to, I never expected to grow at this level just from transitioning and just from, leaning into who I wanted to be and the identity that I wanted to assume. So it is
yeah,
pretty, yeah, it does. It, almost takes the breath out of you sometimes.
yeah. At summer 2020, I was still kind of. I think I was still in my baby leftist stages, so I was not kind of on left Twitter.
Yeah.
Um, I I only had like about 45 followers before Poe added me to a group chat, and I don't have too many now. Like almost 200, but that's
Mhm.
yeah. Um,
Don't
and
worry,
I
you'll
didn't
blow up
really
after
use.
this goes live. Don't worry, don't worry. You're fine.
um, yeah, I had oh, I wasn't really on Twitter very much before now,
Mhm.
basically.
Yeah. No, I feel that. Yeah, I certainly wasn't as involved in people's lives as I am now. Like I was on Twitter, but I wasn't like I didn't have friends. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I didn't have friends that I made on Twitter.
Right.
Like,
Exactly.
yeah,
Well, cool. Um, I guess that could lead us into our little fun topic section here. Was there anything maybe you wanted to talk about while we're here?
I don't know. Like I've been trying to think of like a fun little topic, and I guess I can think of topics to talk about that aren't fun, but
Oh,
I
okay,
don't want
that's
to do
fine.
that.
Well, like I said, whatever you want to talk about, it doesn't have to be fun necessarily.
Um, I don't know. I like me coming on here was really short notice, so
Oh, I'm
I wasn't
sorry.
really. Yeah, no, it's fine. But I I kind of just it took me a little bit by surprise,
That's okay.
yeah,
That's
and I'm
okay.
not really sure what to talk about.
Well, I'm glad to have you. Honestly, it's a pleasure. I do thank you for coming on such short notice. I know I kind of reached out like this morning and said, "Hey, quick! I need somebody to fill a slot. Somebody get in here!" And so yeah,
Yeah,
I'm really sorry about that, but I'm glad that you were willing to come on, and I'm of course happy to talk to you. It's
yeah,
always a pleasure. I know we were in Discord a little bit last night, and it was fun talking to you there too.
yeah. That was nice. I want to get more in because like I am kind of friends with like a few people, but I want to
Hmm.
start reaching out more because like there's a lot of cool people in this community, and I want to
Yeah,
talk to them more.
yeah. Yeah, I think so. Certainly, I that's one of the things that I want to work toward is getting everybody together and making sure that if there's any beef that I can help squash it and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Because like ideally we should all be supporting each other even through like little minute differences and opinions on political issues and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't think anyone's take on a specific streamer drama is reason to like cast them aside as a person. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
I don't know.
I yeah. So I'm friends with somebody who runs a pretty big Twitter account.
Hmm.
Um, who is like um and we have very very different opinions on breadtube and like leftist content
Hmm.
in general. Um, and the other day I posted something about like Vosh having a really bad take on Nier on a video game I like.
Yeah.
And then like uh they posted it on their main thing and because and like it started like a bunch of people shitting on Vosh and I was like, damn, this is not like
No.
but then um people started calling them uh um what's the word, like conservative, and
Hmm.
I blanked on that. Like people started like shitting on them because they started shitting, and I felt like so bad and responsible. Like
Yeah. Yeah, I
yeah,
feel that. I get that. Like I'll make a post or something and then like a bunch of my friends will like subtweet about the post or they'll comment on the post or something and it'll start a big drama and then everybody's talking about it and I'm like, "No, please stop. It was a shit post. Ignore it. Ignore it, please." Um
at the very least, it doesn't seem to have affected them that much.
yeah, that's good.
Yeah,
No, I mean, like, it is really surreal feeling, though, when something like that happens, isn't it? To think that, oh, well, the thing that I posted was, like, the root of this or the start of this.
yeah. I was off of Twitter that entire day, so I opened up my phone and I'm like, damn, this started drama. And it wasn't
Damn.
even drama that like is in like the space that we share.
Hmm.
It was like in a completely different corner of Twitter. Um, and I was like, God damn. Yeah. I posted a while ago. I was like, wow, people are starting to perceive me on Twitter. That's really weird.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
um, yeah. Um, yeah. I didn't really have anywhere else for that to go.
That's okay. That's fine. Um, well, this would be probably a good time to go ahead and wrap up. We've been chatting here for about 40 minutes. Was there anything else maybe you wanted to talk about? Anything you wanted to promote or anything like that? Shout out?
Um, I guess follow me on Twitter at sloth_bucket. And for the content creation that I am going to be doing for YouTube, it is Harper Snowy. Um, and yeah, that's it.
Nice. Well, yeah, send me your links. I'll have your Twitter one, but send me any other links that you want me to include. I'll put them in the description for you, okay?
All right, great.
Good deal. Alrighty, well, thank you all so much for coming out to Friendly Friday. If you would, go ahead and click down on Harper's links and give her a follow. And also be sure to like the video and subscribe and leave a comment and all that good stuff. And of course, as always, take care and do your best to stay unique.